Yo, what up YouTube? It's Prodigy and welcome back to another video. This is actually a really interesting feeling. So anybody that's been up this evening with me, I want to thank you. It is the 25th. It is 7:30 in the morning. I actually, about half an hour ago now, finished up my Until Dawn playthrough, my first time through the game. And I thought, what better time to give out my first impressions? And yes, I'm giving out my first impressions because that is probably the first thing I should start out with this. This game warrants multiple playthroughs. It will compel you within the first few hours to want to create and want to do multiple playthroughs because of just the nature of the game, of the choices you have to make, and the situations that it places you into. Now, saying all of that, what do I think of the game? First and foremost, mechanically, the game isn't the strongest. Why? For me, it may have been my controller. Occasionally, it seemed like my button presses weren't registering, and this resulted in a few less than satisfactory situations. Beyond that, though, the game is very light. It is something along the lines of Heavy Rain, something along the lines of Beyond Two Souls, games that are told in a very interesting way that use interaction and create a cinematic tale through minimal user input. Saying that, God, the movement in this game is frustrating. It is the single most just annoying thing to get your character to go where you want them to go. By the halfway point, yeah, you know how to do it and how to get it to go, but every so often, you'll still get this kind of, I want you to turn, and the guy's just like, what? Turn around? Okay, come back, turn around. And that's just incredibly frustrating in that respect. I think beyond this, from a storytelling standpoint, this is what caught me. I heard a first impressions, and this individual talked about how the game was incredibly cheesy. And the first hour to 2 hours of the game is incredibly cheesy. It is full of cliches. It is full of kind of predictable jump scares. It is so much of what you expect from what you saw with the game. But that's why it's so amazing. Why I love this game and the way it's set up so the period after that, it leaves you raw. Because the atmosphere, because it's set up so well in the beginning, and you're left like, yeah, you have these jokes, and you have these twists, and yeah, you think you're gonna catch me off guard, and you know what's going on, and all these different things are hitting you and being thrown out, and you're just like, see, I saw everything coming. When it hits the point where the game kind of takes itself far more seriously, the impact, the weight, the feeling of every single moment within the game changes. The game becomes far more visceral, far more real, far more. I'm going to upload this playthrough. There were mistakes in the playthrough. There were things that I can't stand that happened. And I will even say now, I'm doing a second playthrough on Twitch later this week. Maybe not today, which is Tuesday the 25th, but definitely Wednesday, Thursday. Sometime I'm going to get at least one more, if not two more playthroughs, and I want to see what I can do. This game is a sleeper. It is beyond a sleeper. To those out there who don't like single-player games, who argue the longevity of a single-player game, I will not argue with you to a degree. I'm a single-player person. I love story. I play games for compelling worlds, not just to compete with my friends, but to see someone's imagination brought to life. And what we have here is an insane mind placed before you. My playthrough, while you're quoted 9 hours with kind of minimal exploration, I don't want to say like no exploration because I did do some, especially early on in the game, with minimal exploration, you're talking 6 hours 52 minutes is the final time kind of for the game when the final cutscene rolled. Credits ended up finishing by about 7 o'clock, so you're talking like 7-hour game. I felt satisfied. I feel as though I'm going to get at least 2 more playthroughs out of the game, if not more. This feeling is amazing. If you have not played, if you're a fan of horror, now let's establish, I'm not a fan of horror. I don't like horror. It is not it's not something I seek out. It's not what I choose to read. But the way this game is done, from a person that enjoys story, it is such a compelling standpoint. It is such a compelling tale where your feelings about characters are so extreme, are pushed so often, and you will go back and forth between characters and decisions and regretting and thinking of what you can and can't and can and can't. You're pulled so many directions. The game does things so many things well. I would recommend checking out my first playthrough if you're really interested. And it is a game that I can say you don't have to buy. To multiplayer heads out there, don't buy the game. Why? Because you're in it for the multiplayer. You're in it for a very specific reason. This isn't something. If you don't like 80s or 90s cheesy horror, don't buy the game. Because the first third of the game, maybe, is going to be that cheese. It's going to be a lot of it. And if you don't like it, if you can't deal with cliches, then you're not going to get to that part of the story. But if you can, if you're looking for an experience, it's a definite rent. It is something that I sat down and played and thought I might have to split into 2 streams. And yet I found myself feeling more and more compelled to finish the game. I am more than happy with this purchase. I am delighted with it. A full review will be coming of this game end of this week, beginning of next. And with that review, I want to have at least 2 playthroughs, if not more. I want to be able to see the different choices. The choice in this game is so real, and it feels so visceral because of the questions, because of how it's proposed. So many things I don't want to spoil, but check out our walkthrough. Check out everything. The walkthrough, the first few episodes should be dropping later today. It is, again, like the same morning I was streaming for 10 to 12 hours. So I want to catch a little bit of sleep, but I will post those videos for you early afternoon. And I hope you do enjoy this. Thank you, people of Nation Awkward. Thank you, Internet. And thank you, Until Dawn, for such a compelling experience. This has been Prodigy. Remember, it's always okay to be a little bit awkward. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. If you're interested in any of the things I've talked about, second playthrough, walkthrough, all of those things will be included in the links in the description. Until next time, peace.